Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Let's talk about tayammum. Goal of most of our lessons is that we will, introduce the Arabic terminology here and there, but for the most part, I mean, it does not make you a religious person just because, you're saying some of the technical terms in the language of Arabic. Goal is to, of course, right now, especially for this course, is to have you pray properly, make sure in the state of purity as you're supposed to be, and of course giving you directions on how to do that. But once in a while I will be introducing some terminologies in Arabic, but there's one of them which of course you're not familiar with, and it's called tayammum, which basically means dry wudu. Now what do I mean by that? Of course you would think, hey, wudu, you have to do it in water. So one of the ways to get out of major impurity is to do ghusl, and that is taking a bath. And then the other one is wudu, which is just washing yourself, right? Your hands and your feet and your face and your arms and so on. And both of them will get you pure. And both of these require you to use water. And without water you can't do bath or wudu, ghusl or wudu. You can't do it without water. So what if you are traveling, or it's cold, or you're sick, and and if you use water, it will harm you in terms of, let's say there's not much quantity of water, and you need it for cooking and drinking. But if you do wudu with that, or take a bath, and you have to take a bath if you're in the state of major impurity in order for you to pray. So what happens in those circumstances, and how do we do dry wudu, which basically means without water. So I have a verse from Quran, and let's look at the verse. This is Allah in Quran is saying, and if you are ill or on a journey, or one of you comes after answering the call of nature, or you have been in contact with a woman, basically that's a nicer way of saying by having way of sexual relation, and you find no water, perform tayammum with clean earth and rub therewith your faces and your hands. So these are the instructions that are given to us by Allah in Quran on how to do tayammum. So again, both, whether you're in the state of major impurity or minor impurity, major or minor, you can do tayammum, and you will be pure. You'll be in the state of purity. And there's same way. There's no, you don't have to take a bath by doing tayammum. And I'll show you how to do tayammum and what are the circumstances that we have to do tayammum. So let's write down some of those reasons. Number one, of course, is lack of water, that we have already mentioned. Lack of water. Number two, in the state of illness. Let's say you are ill, and if you use water, you think you're gonna die because it's so cold outside, you're traveling, and in that case, you can do tayammum. If you're traveling, of course, and we talked about it. If you're traveling, and when I'm talking traveling, I don't mean just any casual traveling, and because you can find water even while you're traveling. You'll have a lot of rest stops in the areas. But if you're traveling and you don't find water, you can do tayammum. Also, if it's very cold, again, this kind of will go in the same category as the illness, you can say, almost. The illness and cold can somewhat go together. That if you're ill, now let's say you have a head injury, and if you do wudu or you take a bath and you wash your head, the water can go inside, and there's a chance of getting hurt or even die. If it's very, very cold and you have only cold water, you're gonna take bath in very cold water, there's a huge chance of you dying or getting seriously ill. Then you can do tayammum. Now we already read the ayah, the verse from Quran, which says that you basically use you just take dust and rub it on your hands and your face, and that will be considered tayammum. So let's look at one of the hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he gives us instructions on how to do tayammum. So one of the companions of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, came, and he basically thought that if there's no water and you have to take a bath, and in order to take a bath, you of course have to have water, make your body totally wet. So since there's no water, he basically rolled over mud or rolled over dust, and thought that this is tayammum. And he went to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he told him that it would have been sufficient for you to do like this. So then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam then lightly stroked the earth with his hands, and then blew off the dust and passed his hands over his face and hands. Very simple. I'll write this down, the steps. Basically, and again, you have to have the intention. Say Bismillah. Then lightly stroke the earth. Lightly stroke the earth. Number 2, blow off the dust. Number 3, and pass your hands over your face and hands. And that's it. This is how you do tayammum. Just lightly stroke the earth where and then where there's dust, blow off the dust, pass your hands over face and your hands, and you have done tayammum. And if you have done tayammum, you're in the state of purity. Even if you were in the state of major impurity, you would be but again, there are conditions. You can't say I don't feel like doing wudu, it's too cold, I'm so uncomfortable, and you're gonna do tayammum. You have to have these reasons, some extreme circumstances where it's cold, or you're traveling, or you're ill, there's lack of water, you need it for cooking, or to survive. And in those cases, you can do dry wudu, which is basically without using water, and you're using something that is pure as well. And earth is pure, and you just lightly strike the earth, blow off the dust, pass your hands over your face and your hands, and now you are in the state of purity. And even if you don't find water for 10 years, you can continue on doing tayammum, and that should be sufficient for you. And now you're in the state of purity, and you can go ahead and